would I say I'm a classically trained dancer? No. I would not say that. Would I say that I'm very comfortable letting my body just gyrate to the rhythm and the drums and the bass?
So you're a free flow dancer. All right, I feel that.
Hey, I'm a free flow dancer, and again, I'm a big fist for a dancer too. Find things to do, like with the hands.
The music flow through.
But yeah, no,
I got it.
Sir.
Yo. hey, I'm sorry.
Hold on. Case openings? Wait.
A ton of money from
is that
hold on, it's my closing
they
thought.
actually everyone's saying they ran out of 3 because they feel it's profitable.
Yo, welcome back to the Catalyst Effect podcast. This is episode 17. I'm super hyped for today's episode. We have a super special guest. But before I get to that, my name is Klaus. I'm your host. And as always with me is my boy Missy. What up, brother?
What's up? I'm excited to have Squiddy on here today. Squiddy and us go way back. He's one of the first homies to ever support me when I started in this space and bring me up to his spaces. So it's cool to have him on our show this time.
Hell yeah, brother. I'm super hype. And also with us is our other boy, Hado. What up, brother? How's your week been?
It's been a living hell, but I'm here and I'm alive kicking. Let's get it.
Hey, I hope you're doing well, man. And thank you so much for being here and being a trooper. It's going to be a great show. So we have some awesome topics. And as Missy said, we have our boy Squiddy. Listen, as soon as you guys join the live stream, okay, and you're in the chat, I want to see some fists in the chat because this man has started a whole
We're fisting Squiddy, baby.
Hell
We're
yeah,
fisting Squiddy.
All day, all night, baby. All day, all night. There's nothing better.
Hell yeah, man. So
better.
put your fist in the chat if you're joining us. Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you here with us. But man, we have Squiddy on the show today. Super hype, like I said. Squiddy, man, I'm gonna throw it back to you, and I kind of want to start for any new listener that are gonna join in that maybe haven't stumbled upon you and your presence in Web3. How did you come around Web3? Like, what was your discoverability like? Like, what got you into the space? What was your first, stumble upon it?
Yeah, so again, I've always been gaming and I've always been building communities around things I love, right? So that's usually been music, sports, and video games. So combine a couple of them together and you start to cook with gas a little bit. And then first time I was really exposed to, digital assets where I was like, okay, this would be kind of cool to own. I won't throw Pokemon in there, but like playing Madden Ultimate Team, FIFA Ultimate Team, it's like the day one stages. First time they introduced it, I was like, all right, dope. I get to run a franchise. I get to own these cards. I get to play and earn these cards. And it was the first time I was able to buy packs with real money. The first time I was really exposed to that. And then, you would have to go to message boards to do trades because there was no trade function in the game at the time. And if you want to deal, there's always a black market for these things. So you would go to the forums, you would build relationships with people on the forums here, really just based on trust, right? So we would have to, if Klaus, you and I were doing a trade and I had a 99 Messi, which was worth 5 million coins, but the max I could sell on the marketplace was 999,000. We would have to get onto the headset, wherever we were in the world, time up when we were going to put it to the marketplace, time that exactly. You would have the search all ready to go. You would have to be really quick with the fingers to buy the Messi. And then afterwards, or before, depending on who had the higher social cred, send the additional coins in terms of crappier cards that would just kind of level out the currency. So that really kind of opened my eyes. And then when NBA Top Shot came about, they were promising a mobile game at the time. And kind of rugged us on that initially. But I was like, oh, I love basketball. Sports, gaming, if I'm going to be able to play some games, get some highlights here and be able to actually own these assets and use these assets for a lifetime, have it be used as a duration. So I found NBA Top Shot. When it goes to building out communities, I like to flash it back. I started a Facebook group when I was in 9th grade called Every Person on Facebook that graduates in 2010. It's a bit of a mouthful, but next thing you know, there's 100,000 people in the group, and instead of coming home and doing homework, I'm coming home and I'm talking to chicks in Nebraska, right? Like we're doing all these like silly like high school things where we're able to talk to people all over the world, and it was just like a pretty new phenomenon there. So just loved building those communities. When I found the Top Shot Discord, and it was just crazy going through really fast, and like yo, like this is it. Like I'm pumped. This is very exciting. So, what can I do as a community member to make other community members experience better off and just kind of get more involved? And then I really started to learn, hey, my experience as a community builder, Web3 has the potential to kind of turn this into a legit profession. So I'd always kind of struggled on how to really monetize that besides like throwing events or doing all these things. Like, oh, like I think that I have the skill set that could be beneficial in this space. So got involved as a community member. Next thing you know, they made me one of their top mods, and then I became one of the first like big community managers for an NFT project. And obviously, NBA Top Shot played a big role in fostering in the bull market and the NFT craze. So that was really like my break. Just worked my balls off, got involved every day, loved what I was doing, and had a 3 to 5 year plan of what I could maybe accomplish in the space. And I knew, hey, getting this experience for Top Shot will open up. It'll either be a dream job or open up other tremendous opportunities. So that's how I got started. That's how I got involved. I so when I started working with Top Shot, I had to not buy Top Shot moments anymore. Thank goodness, because then that led me to let me see some of these other NFTs. Oh, these bored apes. These things are doing something interesting. So that kind of led me down that path. Yeah, man. But it's always been at its core. Your time is your most valuable asset, and I remember what it feels like just grinding and spending so much time in the game and really just kind of feeling like, all right, what did I really get out of this besides simply entertainment value? My time is worth a little bit more than that. So that really opened the eyes to Web3 gaming, and then just have committed to getting involved. That led me to working for my first game studio, which was Jam City. They were working on a game called Champions Ascension, and then it's been a kind of like a rocket ship from there, man. When it comes to just getting involved and working and building in a young space, a space that I believed in, a space that I thought that I could bring some value to.
Dude, absolutely. I love that answer. By the way, that story is awesome, bro. I've always loved people that discover Web3 at a community level, right? And have been able to get themselves involved within that communities or those projects and help develop them, right? And build them, right? So I think that's super cool that you were able to build that path, right? And just find different interests and like different projects and get involved to a level that you were part of, like the developing part of it, right? And then transcending that into like your work with Champions Ascension, which is when I discovered you, right? Like I found out about you through Champions, and I that's when I was like doing a lot of live streaming and all that type of stuff. So I really enjoyed the work you did with them, bro, because you really like hyped it up, right? And you made it special as far as like the community goes, right? Like I remember all the little events that you used to do, and you were like a member of the team that was always playing that game. If you logged in into Champions Ascension and you were roaming around the town, there was a good chance that you ran into Squiddy in there, right? And like I saw you like roaming in there, interacting with people. I remember the drawing. I think it was like a
Drunk racing,
yeah,
baby.
drunk racing. You remember that? That's bro. Stuff like that is what made it super special and what made me admire the type of work that you do inside communities. But I'm gonna pass it to the rest of the boys, see if they want to add anything here. I'm gonna pass it to Hado, see if he has anything to add.
Yeah, what has been your favorite champion of the session like event? Because I remember the only one that I ever got into that actually introduced me to the game was the Big Sally event going on during 3XP. And I think we met up with No ACLs and a couple other guys in the space, and that was the first time I met them. And we could not defeat this big beast, right? We just kept dying over and over again. And they wanted to keep going, and I rage quit. So, like, what was like your favorite event that you've held so far for Champions Ascension?
So I was unceremoniously let go with Champions right at that time. So I helped set up, get involved with 3XP, and then I show up to 3XP, and I'm all of a sudden like a free agent. My favorite event was we were doing some of these streams, and we had a shout castathon, which was really cool. So again, building with the community, building with content creators, and we had like through one of the whole pre-alpha sessions had a just got some of my favorite creators involved at the time, creators that had expressed interest. So we had my man 64, we had Eliza, we had I think Stash was involved in that. Who else?
I think
My
at some
man
point you
Blue
guys got
Mojo.
Kagi in there too.
Yeah, no, we had Kage at some point there, and like anyone who was a creator, I basically was able to get them into the game, check it out, maybe get some content, and then start to just build and cultivate those relationships. But I think the Shoutcastathon, where I was like a co-host for a while and just give the floor to awesome creators, let them do their thing, let them kind of run the show, be there as a support. And for me, it was always about putting on creators, putting on people that actually want to grow with the game. Right? There's some creators in here who maybe weren't the best actors, and I didn't want to work with them. Right? I wanted to work with people who were genuinely excited with what we were doing, people who wanted to build with me, people who wanted to build with the particular game, and give them opportunities and create spaces for them to become, wherever they want to get to when it comes to being a content creator, especially in Web3. And it was difficult, right? Because again, at the time, you've got a pretty cool game, but you've got no marketing budget, you've got no other really minimal resources, right? I didn't have much to work with, but being able to like not find a needle in the haystack, but just kind of make something out of it to keep the community engaged, people to keep the people engaged, and get some more awareness on the specific game. I totally learned a lot. But I love that event because I was able to highlight awesome creators and give them a platform to do what we do. So we were able to interact directly with people on the team, and it was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, dude. No, I'm a big fan of all the events from Champions Ascension as well, but I was more of a fan of like just interacting within the game with the rest of the community, like you're saying, the rest of the creators, getting together with them and trying to make content that way, right? Because there was a lot of fun things that you could do inside that game. But before we move on to Missy real quick, I just wanted to say hello to some people in the chat, man, because we have some people throwing some fists in there. I see Jackie throwing fists. I see Ship Select throwing fists. Welcome, guys. Our friends from Boneyard Gaming are in the chat. Welcome to everyone, man, and all the other rest of the viewers in the live stream. Make sure you guys say hello in the chat. Throw some fists up in there for my man Squiddy.
I'm gonna jump in here. I'm not saying what the prize is gonna be, but through all our shows over the next couple weeks or couple months, we're gonna be keeping an eye on who's in the chats. You will be getting something. So throw some fists in the chat for my man Squiddy right here. This guy is a fucking legend. When I started in the space, Squiddy was one of the first people that I would say I looked up to. Like I really learned a lot about community through Squiddy, like watching him navigate the champions community. And he and I used to kick it in the Nemots all the time, like with Sarah and them back then. And like he was,
Shout out to the
yeah,
Nemot
he
fam.
was, he was around in my early Web3GG days, back when I was Juan's community manager. So back then, I learned a lot from Squiddy and just how he navigated the space. And I remember that first space right after that you were let go from Champions. And it was like, honestly, I haven't played Champions since. Like, I'm open to getting back into it and trying out the game. But it took me a minute to like warm up to the idea again because you were such a fabric of the community. And but I want to go back to what you originally said, right? You mentioned that you started off with NBA Top Shot, and you mentioned everything that led to that moment. But you also said something about a 5-year plan, right? What's that look like for you? Like, if you don't mind going more deeper into it.
So it's crazy the way that it completely accelerated. So we're now in 2024. This was the end of 2020, right? So we're almost at like 4 years, and I was like, all right, it'd be pretty cool to kind of like run a game at like a major game studio.
Yeah.
That would be cool. And then Champions happened. They kind of reach out, and then just the way things happened, I had no intention on being like the face of the project. That's kind of how it went. With Web3 game, you have to have someone who's in the trenches representing the game, representing the company, and representing people thought I was the founder of Champions because I was really
for a minute we all
the only
did.
person in the streets, in the trenches, and that's was not something that I anticipated. There were some amazing game makers that I was trying to highlight and get out, but it was difficult, right? So I'm like, all right, these are things that we just kind of have There's things that we're just gonna have to do ourselves, right? So
Yep.
the plan started when I was not full time in the space. I knew that there would be a lot of opportunities involved, and I thought that it would be really cool at some point to have a solid position in a game studio, and then for that to kind of like really accelerate, and then to go from community manager to the community maestro. That's not just the brand. That was my official title at Champions because I was doing so many different things, and I was like, yo, I need, I could if I wasn't gonna get a raise, I need a different title too because the way that community managers are unfortunately looked at in a specific way. There's especially with like executives, there's not the respect that I think that community managers deserve when it comes to execs and the suits and whatnot. So someone referred to me as Johnny, the emperor. He referred to me as community maestro in an email too. I'm like, all right, that's my title. That's the brand. That's the title right there too. Because you're doing marketing, you're dealing with partnerships, you're doing business development, you're trying to do anything you can to keep the game rocking, keep the community engaged, and spread it out to the wider Web3 audience, the Web3 community. So I was able to accomplish that much sooner than I thought, and then the plan kind of just like went out the window. Because when I was Champions, I'm from Philly, right? I'm a loyal dude, and I'm passionate about my people. So I treated it like it was my own. So it kind of just the plan it didn't really break down. Like, all right, we're here, right? We're doing something cool. We're doing something exactly what I thought we'd be doing, no matter how long it takes. I know I'm in the right spot and the right person to kind of like bring this along and building it to scale to go along with the product development and the game development because it doesn't happen overnight. It's not ready for Web 2 gamers because Web 2 gamers, there's so many other games to play that are like done.
Yeah.
like complete and
Yep.
like games that you can suck in
Yeah.
for go on like a 40-hour bender and like you can't
More than
you
3
couldn't do
hours
that
of
at times.
gameplay.
Exactly. And there were zero opportunities for Web3 gamers to grind and whether it's earn a token or NFTs, anything. There was nothing for that. So it was really just kind of trying to keep it rocking and keep people going with the at the time the limited resources that were available. But man, just showing up and building relationships again, like with you, Mizzy, with you, Clouds, like all the relationships that I built with champions, those weren't just champions relationships, right? Those were Squiddy relationships, right? When it comes to like creators, when it comes to other studios and whatnot. And I knew that, by building these relationships, they're going to last through whatever game I'm at, through whatever project I'm at, and building it with people that like, oh, these are people that I want to love and to support and see grow. Like Mizzy, again, you're one of them, man. From like I've loved following your path and following your track, and just like knowing that I was blessed with a unique opportunity as a community builder with no technical skills, right? No, I don't have editing skills, any of these things. Being able to like put community at the forefront of it, seeing people who who I fuck with, part of like if I can't curse or I don't know
Oh,
what you guys
bro, of
call
Nah,
it.
course.
nah, nah.
Fuck
Go for
yeah.
it. Of course.
Fucking curse.
Yeah.
But and people are like, all right, like knowing how the space was gonna go and go out, and there are thousands of people who are amazing community leaders, right? And I was blessed to have been in like a great situation. Things went my way. I got lucky, right place, right time. That combined with a lot of hard work and a vision of where I wanted to get in the space and create my own path, right? I'm not a traditional worker. I'm not a traditional employee. I bring values in ways that might not be quantifiable in traditional KPIs, right? So being able to kind of build out those relationships and knowing that there's going to be so many opportunities as well, being so early in this space, whether it's again, my lifestyle, treat everyone the same from the janitor to the CEO of a company, of a world. And you never know when things are going to go back around. Expect nothing in return. But when you're building these things out, typically opportunities come based on the relationships that you have. And I was able to build some really great ones throughout these last few projects that I was at, and then just kind of leading to for that period of all right, time to do my own thing, right? And then it's like, okay, what can I do here? Do I start a guild? Do I start a whatever? And then I could dive into that in a bit of how I just kind of got more involved
Yeah.
with the wardens and the
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
that kind of glow up. Because again, the Wardens was originated. It was one of the original Champions Ascension guilds. We had a very small community. We had two guilds, and then one was doing things the right way. Right, it was gamers first. Always things like, we gotta grow this out here because not only are there going to be other opportunities for other games, but you're also going to be doing some marketing for the game that you love and the game that you have bags for and the game that you've been around from the beginning, Champions, while getting into these other games and while kind of branching out. So that was something that I was very adamant about, and just like showing love to KG and Blitz and the rest of those guys, and just supporting how I can. Because again, at the time I was with Champions, so I didn't join the guild. I didn't want to choose favorites and whatnot, but I clearly had a favorite. Especially as things kind of move forward there. But just being able to just like be around and support people who have been supporting myself, supporting the project that I'm working on, and with no strings attached, right? I can offer my advice, I can help guide, however it may be, but it's like it's their thing. I'm here to support. I'll support whatever you guys do. These are things that I would kind of help advocate to, and then it's been really great to see them kind of glow up because again, it's bigger than just the Champions Ascension Guild. They're helping the guild themselves, and they're also making names for themselves as gamers and community members in the Web3 gaming space in general.
Hell yeah, dude. Man, you gave us
so much
information
heat.
there, and
so much
yeah,
heat.
yeah, and it's
coming with that fire.
amazing
Absolutely.
stuff, bro.
I got more, baby.
Listen,
real quick,
one thing that I wanted to.
Shib Select said you dance. What's your favorite dance? Yeah,
I dance a little bit. I like. Wait, is she in the chat right now?
Yeah.
What's up? Wet and
Yes,
Wild?
sir. Yes, sir.
Which chat are we looking at, by the way?
Oh, it's the Twitter
X
one,
chat,
the
yeah.
X one.
It's
If you go on the live stream
Wet and
there,
Wild's
you'll
in
see
here.
the chat there. Yeah, Ship has
Let's see,
been
I gotta-
hyping you up in the chat, man. True fan right here.
If you look at
the
chat in Riverside, you can see the link. I put it right there. If you're looking for a link.
Yep.
Okay, let me get this
Yeah,
up. But
Ship-
yeah, no, would I say I'm a classically trained dancer? No. I would not say that. Would I say that I'm very comfortable letting my body just gyrate to the rhythm and the drums and the bass?
So you're a free flow dancer. All right, I feel that.
Hey, I'm a free flow dancer, and again, I'm a big fist from a dancer too. Incorporated. Find things to do, like with the hands.
The music flow through you.
But yeah, no,
I got it.
Sir.
All right.
Hey, you already know, guys. Keep commenting in the chat. The price is gonna be a dance party with Squiddy.
Yep. I want to shout out my guy Money, my guy Dylan DeVillain. Thanks for pulling up, fam. Appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah, man. And also, Ship also says, I was a Web2 gamer who became a Web3 gamer largely due to Squiddy. That's fucking awesome, man. Always seeing, love seeing like somebody bridge over like traditional gamers into our world in the right way, so that they can get involved as well. So that's super.
That kind of makes me like want to ask a question to you, Squiddy, because I was having a chat the other day with a couple people in the space, and they're always like, "How can I get my Web2 gamers into Web3?" What is your in your opinion, the best way to do that, to go about bringing people in? Because you converted people in this chat, so I think you have the perfect answer for that.
Show them a good game. Show them good people that are kind of building in the space. Again, every aspect's going to be different. Every gamer is built differently, right? There's so many different types of games to play, from the shooters to idle games, catch a Pokemon, or to these little brain games, right? So finding out, it's a grassroots thing, right? We're all responsible. If we want to all on board, we got our gamer friends. We're all responsible to kind of bringing those little clusters on board, and it's going to have to grow and happen organically, because you don't just become a Web3 gamer. You become a Web3 gamer once you fully understand the powers that it can bring, and just a paradigm shift from giving more power to the players, to the people, and these game studios that are used to just using gamers as exit liquidity, or using gamers as just a dollar sign. It's going to shift. It's going to shift a little bit, right? Like, these studios have to give up some of that power if they want to make it and build in the Web3 gaming space. Not all studios are wanting to do that. Some of them say they want to and don't actually want to, which is a whole different conversation. But finding games maybe that you're playing, games that you can play with them and enjoy with them, and just get them involved. And it's really on a personal basis, right? It's going with relationships that you trust, games that you trust and you can vouch for. And I operate on the transitive property. You guys know I'm no math major, but I believe in science. right? And it's A equals B and B equals C, therefore A equals C. So that happens with relationships and games. So if I've got a homie, I've got a game, I love the homie, I love the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's really on a personal level. There's no like wide thing that's gonna just convince someone right off the bat. It's just gonna happen over time, and it's gonna be on the effect of relationships, and they're gonna get into some of these spaces with people that they trust and have relationships for, not some rando with 100,000 followers saying buy this token or Web3 gaming is, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I always thought that the best way to, like, if you have an audience per se and you're playing like a certain demographic of game, but you also play with 3 games and you're like, I don't know if I want to play this on stream. Well, I think they trust you in the beginning, right? Because like they're following you for a reason. Like you're the streamer, they're the viewer, right? So I just think people need to just grab their balls and just do it, stream, and have a good time with it, be entertaining, and I think that's the best way to like get people into the door, so to speak.
All right,
100%.
Cloudy boy, I think you had something to say earlier, man. Let's kick it to you. Let's see what you got.
No, man, I was just gonna say, like, I was gonna kick
Cloudy
it back
boy.
to where Squiddy was
Sorry.
like talking like Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh! Over there, bro.
Cloudy boy.
All right. No, I was just gonna kick it back to
Fishing
what
guy,
Squiddy.
hazy.
Yeah. I was gonna kick it back to what Squiddy said about the whole like community maestro thing, right? Because I think that fits your brand so well, man. I think part of the reason why you did so well with like bridging people and still do is because the vibe that you bring, right? You make it very like what you were saying right now, very personalized, right? Like you find those personal connections with the creator and the games that you're working with, or like in that instance, it was Champion, right? Because I remember during that time period, Champion wasn't really doing any like creator outreach, really, and most of the creator outreach, from my experience, came from you. So I totally get the perception of people thinking that you were, maybe like an owner of Champion and stuff like that, because you were truly running that community on your shoulders, man. So I just wanted to give you flowers for, man, being a community person, a community leader, and someone that inspires people and like actually get them into Web3 in the right way, because we talk about this all the time on the show, where there's like this lack of the right level of education towards Web3. So it's really important that the information that we're providing to new users comes from the right people, and I think you're one of those persons. So definitely thank you for the work
Yeah,
you've done,
man.
man, for Web3.
That means the world, man. I really appreciate that, because again, it's not something, I only know how to be my authentic self, and really believe in, like, just in life, you're not going to be able to change the world, but you can make things better for the people around you, right? Just by showing up every day, being authentic. There's not too much authenticity in this space, and that's all I know how to be, right? I know what I love. I know what I'm about. I'll never be in the cabal, right? Like, well, but we could just like show love and support to the people who do. And I'm very passionate about what the future of gaming can look like, especially when it comes to the Web3 side. So just trying to take care of my circle and take care of the people around me, and play some fun games.
Nah, man.
Hell yeah, man.
I like, my personal story with you was, I think I had like 500 followers on Twitter at the time, and I'd occasionally write threads and shit. And you reached out to me, and that's how you got me into Champion. And indirectly, I think that's how I ended up talking to Money, who eventually ended up becoming like one of the biggest like Catalyst Guild members as far as like just support. So it's just that interpersonal connection. Like when Wild was saying that, in the comments, like, you just reached out to me, and we kind of just went back and forth about the game. It got me to try out the game. It got me involved, and I met a couple of friends there, and just seeing how that even trickled into something like Catalyst, where that's what started like early conversations between me and people like Money and some of the other guys that I'm cool with in this space. Like that's the effect of just keeping it real, keeping it authentic. Like, you're one of the realest motherfuckers I know in this space. And you
Yep.
you also
that,
never judged
and
me for being the asshole that I am, which I always appreciated.
You're my asshole. You're my asshole. But that's again, that's one of the things that warms my fucking heart, right? And that's really what I'm all about. I'm a we, not me guy, right? And being able to connect people and just like have that familiarity. Oh, you're a fan with Squiddy. I see you doing some things. Let me connect to people and do their thing. Do I make it? Is there any monetary value for that? I mean, no. Do I care? No, because like that's not what it's about for me. We're still really early That's kind of what we do with Gaming Ape Show and formerly No Shoes, which I got to bring back.
Yes,
I'm
bro.
rocking the No Shoes.
Bring it back.
I had to put those shoes on pause for a little bit, but in due time we will bring that back. But real genuine connections with that trust bit. So there's a ton of relationships out there, people that are working together, building out, doing things that I say humbly, I've had a small part to play when it comes to just like connecting and maybe bringing two different people up onto a stage and doing whatnot too. And that's really what makes me like pumped and happy, especially when it's people that like I like and I believe in. I think that they're doing some cool stuff together. So there's a lot of instances where people say, yo, like, they know deep down and it's not talked about, whatever, but I get like a DM, yo, just Squiddy, I appreciate you, man. Or like, so and so, I don't need any credit. I don't need any of this shit, but that's fucking one of the reasons why I do it, especially from the community side, because like, it's a tight knit group first and foremost, and it's something that genuinely makes me happy.
Yeah, dude, I love
I really appreciate those words, man.
I really love what you said about being a we person rather than a me person, right? Because I personally connect with that a lot. I would classify myself as that type of person as well. I'm always trying to look out for others before I look out for myself. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not. It's not so good for me personally, but that's the type of person I am, right? And I think that's something that we've tried to bring to the mission statement in Catalyst, right? Because from the very beginning, being a media company, all four of us, the four core founders of Catalyst, are content creators, right? So it would have been really easy for us to say, you know what, screw it, this is going to be reap all the rewards for just us four, and let's milk this thing, right? But we didn't do that because we wanted to bring that ethos of like, no, we're going to take care of this community and we want everyone in here to win and really like excel in what they do, right? So I think we made it a point from the very beginning to like take care of others as well, rather than just us four, and share all the rewards, right? Like build that community together, win together, like even in some cases make money together, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're in here in Web3 too, right? Like that's what makes a difference. We can make money with this and be early to a lot of like potential possibilities and like opportunities, right? So yeah, man, props to you for saying that, because I resonate with that a lot.
Yo, they're wilding in the chat right now.
Yeah, man.
What are they saying, man? What are they saying? Let's see.
It's Wet Wild talking dirty.
Yeah,
hey, yo, let's get some more fists in the chat, yo.
dirty.
Get some fists in there, man. Let's go.
Yeah,
They said
she's talking dirty.
change his name to Squishy. Billy Bone said this.
Yeah. Nah.
So,
Go ahead.
Oh, Money Plane says you're. Yo, we're all over the place on this one. Let's go, Squiddy.
Oh man, good stuff. So people, I get Squiddy autocorrects to Squishy a lot if people are typing my name for the first time. So I get people call me Squishy. People call me Squishy a lot, but we're gonna stick with Squiddy. We're gonna stick with Squiddy.
Let's go. Squiddy, Squishy, man. That's crazy. My wife is obsessed with she's obsessed with those Squishmallow things. She keeps asking me to buy her more. I'm like, where are you gonna put them? You already have like a bunch of them, Anyways, let's see. Oh, I think Money was saying that you're inside his cabal.
Yep.
So you are in a cabal, man.
Inside of a lot
sorry
of
to break
people's
your
cabals.
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
Man. Hey, I'd rather be called Squishy than my autocorrect is always Missy. Yeah,
Missy with the
people
S.
always be calling me Missy by accident. I'm just like, yo, what's up with that, bro? What's up with that?
Missy Elliott.
Missy Elliott.
Nah, but I actually want to talk about Superfine and the council, right? Like Superfine, you and Caldy, I've been seeing you guys kicking it on the TL long before that. So I wanted to hear more about that and how that happened and like your experience with it so far.
Caldy, I owe a lot to Caldy, man. Caldy's one of my best friends, and I'm happy, honored, and proud that I get to call him my CEO now too. If I was, after how shit went down with Champions, I'm like, I can only work with people who I genuinely align with. That's top. That's kind of like making decisions and whatnot. So a lot of that was like, okay, I'm going to do some things by myself, kind of like planning out. I took some time away from things to really step back and analyze everything. But again, like when it came down to like working with Caldy, it was just the biggest no-brainer. So we met initially when I was doing No Shoes. I put out, a classic engagement farmer tweet, but it's genuine when I do that. I was like, all right, who should we have on No Shoes, right? Any recommended guests? Because I generally, I don't bullshit, right? Like if one of my shit gets rated and it's like an interesting guest, I'll bring them on to the show, right? Like I still do that with the Gaming Ape show, where there's no gatekeeper, there's no nothing. But one episode that the We All Survived Death fam all reached out. Gotta get Caldy on. Gotta get Caldy on. This Caldy guy. I'm like, who the fuck is Caldy? But all right, let's bring the guy on. Let's check it out. He's a fellow board ape, so I'm down. He gets onto the space. I had no idea at the time. Again, he was in Vietnam, so it was 12 hours in advance. No Shoes was at 4 p.m. Eastern time, so that was 4 a.m. Literally stayed up for that space. I heard that like the day before. I'm like, dude, I'm happy to reschedule. No worries. He's like, no, man, it's all good. You know, like don't worry about it. Had no idea who he was. Just knew he was the board ape. And again, for me, just having that one forward connection, we were going to have something cool. And he's got a cool project coming up, all this good stuff. So we get on. We do No Shoes for like an hour and a half. I really hope I got to go back and find that episode. But we just had a great chat, and we developed an unbelievable friendship. Like two peas in a pod. Really connected. Continued to do things on Spaces and on Twitter and whatnot. Fast forward like a year or something, we finally got to meet in person in Miami. And I'll never forget, there's actually a video of the hug. You know, like there's the shot, there's whatever. If you search the hug, Squiddy, you'll be able to see it. He's coming up the elevator, and I give my phone to this lady and go, hey, so my best friend's about to walk up the elevator. I've actually never met him in person yet. So if you don't mind, do you mind taking a video of me? Because as soon as he walks up the elevator, I'm going to jump into his arms. Hopefully he catches me. And he caught me. It was amazing. It was I wanted to get a little dirty dancing thing where he put me up into the air and spun me around. But, that would need a little more, practice. But we just, again, hit it off. Because again, you can build real relationships with people on the internet, right?
Absolutely.
And then when it translates immediately to in real life because you have that background, you have that connection with people, and we had ourselves a week, just ripping it. I forget. I think it might have been Basel like 2 years ago, going to like some of these events and whatnot, and just kind of like partnering and criming it up, and he's one of the smartest dudes I've ever met. So if you're not familiar with Caldy, he was the former chief revenue officer of Ketchup. If you guys remember the game 2048, a little brain game, get the tiles up and rocking, helped bring that to a global audience, over 2 billion downloads. They sold Ketchup to Ubisoft. I also worked at a company called like Two Dots, and it's just like he's an absolute legend in the game or on the gaming space, specifically on mobile games. And again, he's so humble. I didn't know any about this when we were building out our friendship. So the friendship was truly genuine. We didn't really want or need anything out of each other. Then when we started spending a lot more time together in person, me being like the community maestro and doing this thing, him being an absolute wizard, we just had a perfect combination of like an opposites attract type deal. We had a lot in common. We have a similar sense of humor. We love getting down. But just like personalities, definitely a little different. And he's someone who recognized the value that I could bring to a company, to an organization. So as we were building out Superfine, the platform started as like a questing platform. And when I was Champions, I was one of the first people to kind of like, give him access to like a big studio. And to do our Elemental Mint, we actually used Superfine instead of Premint, because Premint just wasn't it. I just knew that it would get botted. There was no, especially at the time where it was right now, and the small community that we had, this thing's going to get botted and we're going to get roasted and whatnot. If there was 10,000 drop of a collection for it, I wanted to keep 5,000 of them in the vault to kind of like continue to bring them out. It was just not the time to do another 10K from a second collection, even though it was free. So we stayed in touch. I look up to him as a mentor, someone I truly look up to. So while I was kind of an advisor there, we kept chatting. We went out to Ape Fest. Had a great time in Asia. I got to visit him in Vietnam. I got to visit his office and do this thing. And then he asked if I wanted to come on board full time. My role now is the VP of Culture.
Let's go.
That's up for lots of different interpretations.
That's a dope title, bro. That's a dope title, bro.
I go from community maestro to VP of Culture, where it's, again, back to me, just carving my own path and being as weird and goofy as possible, but also bringing a lot of value to the people around. So he brought me on board. So I'm doing I've got my head down when it comes to doing sales stuff, relationship management, utilizing my relationships to show people an amazing product, right? So there's two things when it comes to business. Is the product good? Does the product work? Hell motherfucking yeah, with a check. What we're building with Superfine right now is ridiculous. Shit that I'm still learning about, blows my mind. And then you want to do business with people that you like and people that you like to do business with. So that's definitely a big aspect to it too. So I'm able to kind of go in there and just be myself and continue to foster these relationships, people that we're going to be working with, make sure that we're set up right, and make sure that I'm managing their accounts and staying connected with them. Anything they need to grow, they've got a point person who at any time they can reach out and send a message to. I connect with the team, or if it's technical, or I can answer myself and whatnot as we kind of grow it out in our early beta stages. But it's been a wild turn, right? Because again, it's still a little bit of a it's not really a community position. But it's just there's many different roles to play. I used to do sales back in the Web 2 day. I would sell software, like property management software. I wouldn't say I loved it. That's why we went to the Web 3 aspect, but it's different too. Because again, selling, it takes on a whole new meaning when less of a selling, more of all right, introducing people that I like or people I think could benefit to a product that I really believe in. And that is Superfine. I really think that this is a platform that will be one of the biggest drivers to help get Web3 gaming mainstream. Not just saying that because I'm on the payroll now. But it really worked out perfect. And again, just being able to work with someone who believes in you for the right reasons and believes in you. I don't have to fake anything that I am. He knows what I am, right? And he knows the value I can bring in maybe untraditional methods. And being around someone who values that is just massive, right? So these are reasons. I haven't taken any sponsorship from a game, right? And most of the games I talk about is really just whether it's my friends or games I like to play, like to do, because keeping my integrity and keeping my authenticity on the timeline is of the utmost importance to me. And I've got Superfine, which again I'm able to work full time, and it can help pay the bills and represent Superfine on the creator side as well. So call me an in-house creator, right? You guys know I love hosting. That's one of the things that I like to do, and I think I do well. To be able to kind of integrate that into what we're doing with Superfine, and then eventually funnel right now games people to get onto the platform.
Yeah.
So we're at an exciting stage right now. Hopefully we've got some fun things to announce soon. You guys know if you guys with Axie. So right now, Superfine powers Axie's growth on the performance UA side. And if you guys are unfamiliar with, I'm sure that's the next question of what the fuck is Superfine, because it's interesting, right? So it's basically a user acquisition platform utilizing Caldy's experience and their team's experience of promoting these huge games. These guys used to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on paid marketing, paid UA, getting ads out in the App Store, Google Play Store, Unity, and get them on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. So all those games that you see, you scroll Instagram, you see a game, install now, right? There's a whole process of how these games and people are paying for these ads. And with Superfine, you're able to run ads across over 30 different networks just with a click of a button. So instead of having to go into each individual ad network and pay, okay, I want to spend on Google right now.
Yeah.
You can go into Superfine and say, okay, I want to run ads on Google, TikTok, and Instagram. And I want my cost per install to be below a certain number. And I want to target specific countries, or I want to target a specific demographic. And then it'll shoot it out. So there's no determination how that's going to be split up between Google, Facebook, and Instagram, Google, TikTok, and Instagram. But with it's an amazing AI tool. You're able to, say one day, you're getting better results on Google, it'll allocate that day's budget to Google more. But again, with the same campaign, say you're getting good results on TikTok, it'll allocate the budget to TikTok in that regard. So it does your bidding management for you as well as kind of create these campaigns. We've trained with all these particular ad networks, so we know all the rules, all the legalities, and like making sure that whether it's a Web3 game, being able to use our audience tooling to acquire Web3 ready gamers on traditional Web2 networks.
That's
Dude,
amazing.
that's dope.
So that's
I had a question real
Love
quick, and
that.
it's kind of tied to what you're talking about right now. And before I ask it, by the way, your story of meeting Caldy, freaking awesome, dude. Like the whole jumping into his arm. I think Shib was talking about it in the chat too. That reminds me of like that Drake and Josh episode, where he he jumps into his arms.
Hug me, brother.
He's like, "Hug me, brother." Yeah,
dude. Yeah, exactly. I gotta find the tweet too, but it's like it's a true love story. I love this dude with all my heart. Our community loves it too. They love the Squiddy Caldy arc. For those who have been following it really since like day one, because it's not just been us too. We've had a whole community kind of rocking with us and supporting us too, and people love the Squiddy Caldy content. It's pretty funny. So we started pumping them out for Ape Fest, but it's just the life of the community maestro, right? It's just being authentic, putting yourself out there, connecting with people you're supposed to connect with, and figuring out how can we help each other, how can we benefit from each other, and
dude, it's a
keep it
true
rocking.
bromance. I love it. A true bromance.
It is a true bromance.
I love it, dude. Listen, and going back real quick to the new position that you have in Superfine, right, where you said that it's not really community based, but to me it is, because anything that revolves culture, right, is for the community. So at the end of the day, if you're leading the charge for the culture that you're creating in Superfine, eventually that's going to lead into the community, and that's what they're going to be able to enjoy, as a product. So that's awesome, dude. And congrats to you for having that position with them, and I'm glad it's going well and that you're loving it over there. But I had a question as far as like, so on the consumer side, right, who would you say is the targeted consumer? And I think you answered this a little bit with what you were talking about, like different companies using just one platform for their ads and stuff like that. But are you guys targeting like more like games, developing studios, or like also creators where they can use your platform to advertise themselves as well and their work?
So right now we are working with games. We're still in a private beta mode. So we're going to chat with games who have marketing budgets that they can kind of spend in it and help test some things out. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Eventually, there'll be a self-serve platform where anyone, you can go in, you can pay the cost that it takes, the SaaS fee to get onto the platform, and maybe market a couple games if you're someone who's like an advisor or marketer for. You've got different clients, and you want to use Superfine as one of your key things in your technology deck, right? That's something that will come eventually. But since we're early now, we're still kind of like refining and rocking it. We're working directly with games who are ready to market their game and want to acquire more users for the game. So, whether it's desktop games or platform games, we've got our own attribution system, and we also connect with a lot of the traditional attribution providers to that have been working and rocking on the mobile studios, because it's getting into like the App Store and the Google Store. They're two completely different processes, and it's a whole different setup in that regard too. So those who are in the App Store are games that we're interested in chatting with as well.
I have a quick question on marketing for your product. So I noticed like Streamlabs likes to partner with like certain creators, and then I think there's Stream Elements as well. Are you guys looking to partner with people in the space to like help promote Superfine?
Not right now, because when it comes to like creators and promoting with that, we've kind of got our short-term goals right now and have our heads down trying to accomplish them, and that's working directly with games. And we have enough connections. I know every Web3 game studio, and that's just me. Caldy knows just everyone, because anyone who's been in mobile game before knows who Caldy is and the work that he's done, especially with Ketchup. So when we're able to kind of like open those doors, we don't really need any help with that. It's always great because again, we want to get a lot of eventually we want everyone who's spending on traditional ad networks to use the Superfine platform. But right now in this early stage, working with like creators and partnering something like that, it's not really necessary, and that's things that like I'm really kind of just representing on my own as I guess the in-house creator, with the intention of, hey, we want to talk to specific games right now to complete our pre-beta phase and get them on board and start marketing their games, and like letting the proof is in the pudding, right? We're very confident in the platform that we have and the results that we're able to get. And that can be exemplified by Axie to start. We've had a great relationship with Axie and the people on the team over there. We had them run some tests. They were using a specific agency that, these agencies run, their whole job is to run user acquisition campaigns. So an agency will have their own Facebook person or their own TikTok person or whatnot. We were able to get, just it's been great to be able to power them, get as many users at a fraction of the cost of what they were paying to a specific agency. So that helped encourage them to use Superfine to power their ads as they kind of get out onto traditional platforms.
I love to see self-sustaining products like this. We need, in order for the space to get to where we need to go, it needs to be more like this, like a streamlined business where you have your clear goals and you're executing on them. So for me, I love to hear that about Superfine. And I had heard a bit about like what you guys are doing over there, particularly with like Axie. Like people were talking about it around the space. And
talk to me. What are they saying?
Everyone was just saying that you guys were working with Axie on user acquisition, and that it seemed that like the costs were like at a good level. So that's kind of all I knew about Superfine going into this conversation, where it was helping Axie scale, especially going into the upcoming bowl. And they were saying that like the people that I heard about it from were essentially mentioning that it could create a new paradigm shift in how user acquisition works in Web3 gaming. So it's really exciting to hear that kind of stuff. And, I'm really happy that someone like you is a part of it, because I think this type of product is really hard to build the culture around. But if there's anyone that could do it, it would be you.
Brother, man, I appreciate that. And I hope that's one of the reasons why Caldy hired me and brought me on with that as well. Because, we are Web3, right, at its core. We love being in the yacht club, and it's just that we've been showing up since day one. We haven't scammed anyone. Haven't gotten into any like things. You're not going to find any Squiddy drama except, you're not going to find any Squiddy drama. It might be out there, but you ain't going to find it.
You ain't going to find it.
But it's all good, and it's been great. Cause again, I'm representing the company. I absolutely love it. I throw on the jersey and everything I do. I know I'm representing Superfine there. I'm representing Caldy. So the trust that he has in me to be able to do that, it's always very humbling. And again, I've got no technical skills. I'm not a programmer. When it comes to like the team that Caldy's built and has been growing with for a while is just absolutely incredible. They've got a great team out in Vietnam, and just to be able to be a part of it and to give me an opportunity to introduce this product to people where it's like, okay, I really think people who I have trust, who are running game studios, who we have a trust level there as well. And Caldy is a trust level too. Being able to get this up to them and figure out a nice deal with people early on, facilitating win-win situations with a product that we know is going to kick some ass and produce and get the results that people are looking for when it comes to user acquisition.
Let's fucking go. Well, shout out Superfine, shout out Caldy. Now I want to get into some shit. All right, I want to get into some shit real quick. I've been shitting all over these NFT bros, and obviously I hope you know that I'm not talking about you when I say NFT bro. You are a fucking gamer. You're one of us. However, I got some beef with a lot of these motherfucking NFT bros that come into this space and start throwing money into dumb shit and then start flooding it because they're fucking idiots. So I would like to hear from someone that's on both sides of the coin. You are deep in the trenches with Apes. You're also deep in the trenches with Web3. You're one of the OGs over here. How many gamers are there really in the ape community? Because obviously you have the Gaming Ape show. So I don't want to shit on the community as a whole. I consider NFT bro more of a mentality than it is like a physical state, right? So I want to hear from you, like, what is the gaming like on that side? What do you think they could improve? And just overall, like, how do you see the two communities intersecting?
I would say there's probably more gamers than you would think. Usually it's the loudest idiots that get the most attention. That's just kind of how things go. But it's been interesting. I actually think that, as I've been growing in this Web3 space, some of these so and so creators and whatnot maybe kind of like look at me differently too, like before they talk to me or judge a book by its cover, just because I've been rocking I got you, Clouds. Just because I'm rocking the Apes, there's like a preconceived notion of who I am, what I do, and what I represent because of the JPEG I have on my Twitter, right? Of the community that I have on my Twitter. So it's been really interesting to see that and try and rock it as a don't judge a book by its cover aspect. To an aspect, I'm not an NFT guy. I love NFTs. I love the PFPs. I'm not a trader, but I'm in so many of these communities because it goes from like community first. And the Gaming Ape Show, we started that. It was Caldy's idea. We had some game makers and people who have been in the gaming industry for a while that Caldy liked, and we have a relationship with. Shout out to Siwoo, Double Ape, and Caldy. There's a lot of founders, game studio founders, that have Bored Apes, especially in like the Web3 aspect too. That are these are the motherfuckers that are doing real work behind the scenes, not the ones that are screaming on Twitter, right? So it's definitely interesting. Now that the Yuga gaming system is kind of like loading and bringing up, they've got a bunch of different games that are rocking. I'm obviously really excited with Dookie Dash coming. Gamers come in all shapes and sizes. So while there's definitely some idiots, I definitely think that there's a lot of pretty cool gamers that are in the yacht club. Maybe not from initially, but if they're like kind of rocking it in the space, there's a lot of opportunities. It's been definitely interesting to be in the middle because you're not the only person with that perception. And I totally understand that perception based on some actions of people in said community. But again, it's really just on a case by case basis. Whether they're just playing new games, whether they're just playing heavy metal, or just playing getting ready for the other side. It's definitely an interesting combo because again, there's going to be idiots everywhere you go. There's going to be good people everywhere you go. And a lot of times the perception of someone or of people isn't always going to be correct based on just like preconceived notions. So again, I totally get it. And there's people that bring not the best element to it, but I don't think it's the majority.
Yeah. All right. I love to hear that, and again, no shots fired to you or any of the actual gamer homies on that side.
None
I always
taken.
think twice before I tweet that shit out because I'm like, oh man, I hope Squiddy doesn't get mad.
I recognize, I get that, dude. I
No, listen, man.
It. Just like
Oh no, go ahead, Squiddy. My bad, man.
No,
I was just going to add that I think it's all about the culture that you represent at the end of the day, right? I agree with your point, man. I think it's very individualized, right? Like either you're going to get the gaming culture and represent that. And I think all of us in this call right now get that culture, right? And that's what we are able to represent it and stay true to the fact that we are gamers, right? We can be into NFTs, we can be into PFP collections, but at the end of the day, if we're talking about gaming, we understand the culture behind that, right? At some point, I would say that maybe, with the exception of Hado, because I know he discovered NFTs a little bit later than the rest of us, right? But I would say that go ahead.
I do know about NFTs. I just didn't hop into the Ethereum side of it. I was more of like an XRP NFT guy. But
what I was going to say is that at some point, the three of us were probably quote unquote NFT bros, right? Because I did own a bunch of I was part of a bunch of PFP collections, right? Like, and that type of communities, right? Like, but I always joined that as a collector perspective, right? Like, I enjoyed the art, I enjoyed the quote unquote utility that was promised behind those collections, right? And I never looked at it as like, oh, I need to flip this to make money. Right. It was more like this looks dope. This community is dope. I want to be involved with what they're creating. I want to be behind the art that they're producing, that type of stuff. And I think that's something that gets lost in Web3 sometimes in the TL, it's like differentiating like the type of culture that people represent. And when it comes to gaming, man, like gamers protect their culture. And I think, I can see the perspective of getting offended by like NFT bros coming into our ecosystem and kind of shedding all over the place, right? And like not knowing, like acting like they represent a project or like they're behind a project and then they dump on it or they FUD on it, like that is the culture that I don't stand behind on. So I think as long as you differentiate and you represent the right type of culture, you'll be fine.
Listen, man. Go ahead, Hado.
I was gonna say, so on my watch, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a picture there of a I guess a black dude, and he has like blue hair, and he's got like a sword on his back. It's kind of the Azuki style, but it was the first NFT I ever bought on the XRP ledger. So I was buying back in like 2021, I was stacking like a bunch of XRP based NFTs. So that was my exposure to it. But like Klaus was saying, like I was kind of like a collector of it. I wasn't expecting to be because I saw the evaluations people were getting with Bored Ape and different stuff. I wasn't expecting that with what I was getting. I would just try to get my feet wet with like the collecting side of it because I really liked to collect things. Like even at a young age, I like to collect games and stuff. So uh, yeah, I definitely resonate with that collection side of thing. The way he was talking, or what
I'm
he was talking about.
I mean, I would say the funniest shit about me calling out NFT bros is I'm a co-founder in an NFT project. So that's like the
Yeah,
psyop
you
fucking
are. What the
there,
hell?
right?
Wait a minute.
So I've been waiting for somebody to call me out on this shit. Nobody ever does. But yeah, so for me, obviously I love NFTs. It's just there's been like this wave of people that come in and they don't necessarily get the culture yet. So you gotta haze them a little bit. They're rooks. They gotta earn their stripes around here. Like you know,
They gotta come on the Gaming Ape show and
exactly,
recognize.
exactly. So any NFT bro that shows up to Gaming Apes, I know is a real gamer, so I'll respect that shit. But yeah, man, and you mentioned other side. I'm gonna just say, bro, that trailer was sus. But I'm holding out hope.
The only actual trailer I saw of that was the My Pet Hooligan that
Yeah,
like
they like dissed them and
memed
shit.
it.
It was like a diss track for a trailer. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, nah, I love that.
Shout out to the Hooli fans.
The Huli fam is a strong community, man. They're doing awesome things over there. But as far as the other side, I hope it comes, man. I really do because it lose the when I found out about other side, the idea of it sounded super dope, and I just hope they're able to execute on it and actually gets out there as a completed product, right? So hopefully it comes and people can enjoy it. Um, but moving forward a little bit, so we talked about Superfine, we talked about Yuga. What is your perception on the Yuga ecosystem, right? Like, do you think they're going to continue to deliver like this mini game experiences like Dookie Dash, continue to reward their community until they finally reach that level of completion to like a product that they can, attract masses with? Or do you think they're just gonna
I think Doogie Dash is the first step to a product to attracting masses, right? They've completely re-optimized the game. The game is fully optimized for a mobile experience. Right now, built in Unity. Versus last time, it was really more of a desktop game. It was built for desktop there, and it was token gated. You had to have an NFT in order to participate. This time around, that's not the case. You don't need anything in order to play Doogie Dash, right? You can download the game just like you would Temple Run, right? And just play the game and go on runs and have a chance to win amazing prizes, which is really cool. I've got some alpha on that. I can't disclose, but again, Yuga has a reputation of going pretty big when it comes to that, right? So, you look at like Mr. Beast, you look at some of these things. Hey, you offer a big prize for a fun game, it's going to attract gamers. It's going to attract people to kind of play it and check it out. So I'm very bullish on Dookie Dash becoming a very popular game because again, just I love Temple Run. People have played Temple Run for a while. There's been so many different iterations of like these running games, and this is just a running game with like Bored Ape aesthetics, and it also has it'll have ape coin sinks, which is really cool. So that's how it kind of goes back into the ecosystem. When it comes to like what's coming up again, Dookie Dash mentioned that should be coming out like the end of Q1. Can't believe we're already in February, which is pretty wild. But when it comes to like the mobile side, everyone's got a mobile phone and the exposure that it could potentially bring, especially with the UGC aspect. So if you've got any like 3D models, you can go into like the Faraway store, load your shit up, get that into Dookie Dash, and have people buy your shit. It's one of the things reminds me I have to do that as well for my We All Survive Death to get it into Dookie Dash. That's called his PFP project. A lot of people in the chat right now they got some WASDs. I think went wild. I don't want to like bag expose her, but she's definitely got over 50 of them. She might have more than I do.
Damn.
They're the best. They're the best. And like fully rigged 3D models that can be put into any type of game, and you can get one for less than 0.01 ETH, which which is always a banger. But yeah, I think with the UGC element and like the ApeCoin sinks, And with like it being a really fun game, that like I was beta testing it, and I would play for hours because it was just a fun game. I just wanted to get my high score. And me personally, I love runners. I love running games. So I'm really excited about that. I'm not as informed on the other side potentially. So again, like when I was asked for like the Yuga Gaming Council, it was with Dookie Dash in mind, right? So that's going to be a council that's rotating in and out. Hopefully, I stay rotated in because I've got my land, I got all my things, and I love me the yacht club.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
love me
sir.
the yacht club. It's provided me some amazing opportunities, and yeah, so I think that we're going to learn a lot when Dookie Dash comes out, for better or for worse. I'm not just a fanboy, I'm bullish, just learning what I've learned right now about user acquisition in the game, and knowing that the game will be fun, and knowing that there's going to be crazy prizes, and it's going to be um, it's not just like a short term thing. Like this is a game that's going to be meant to be in the app store for good, right? Like any other apps, there'll be seasons, there'll be all these things, and it'll keep going and going, and hopefully it's a game that can make money. It's a game that can help the DAO, and it's a game that you know hit the top of the charts, hit the top of the app charts too. So I know that there's definitely some big goals. They've got the resources and team to do it, and as a running game, I've enjoyed it.
I
So
love
I'm very
I
excited
love the
about.
fact that you guys that they're making it more accessible, right? Because I think last time, like the biggest
Have to.
bummer was that a lot of people didn't get to be part of that experience, right? So like I'm glad that they're like opening it up and it's just gonna be an app game and everybody can kind of participate and have their own thoughts on it and give better feedback on the fact why they don't like it or why they like it, right? Because I think last time a lot of
Hmm.
people just said they don't like it because they didn't get to like be part of the experience, right? Like the gatekeeping part was the problem. So I'm glad they went with the more accessibility. But Missy, you wanted to add anything
They
else,
had
brother?
to. Otherwise, otherwise you can't get it to a mass market if it's token gated. It's just
I don't know,
impossible.
man.
Absolutely.
Being the conspiracy theorist that I am, we got Squiddy talking about them opening up access to the game. They're going on mobile. He's on the council. They got Superfine as a user acquisition engine over there. Is there any connection? Uh, I just had to ask.
If I'm so lucky, obviously we think that we'd be able to help power any traditional game that's out there rocking. So you know, it's good questions.
Okay, okay.
Good
I had
questions.
to I had to ask, man, because my brain was starting to wander. But yeah, man.
You're a journalist, man. Absolutely. Um, absolutely.
Absolutely, man. Well,
Good
listen, let's
try.
get into a more gaming topic here. We have this little segment on the show, Squiddy, where we talk about the game of the week, and it's basically where we give our thoughts on the game that we've been grinding out for this week the most, and what we like about it, what we don't like about it, and we just give our general thoughts on it and why people should check it out. So if you're down to it, we're gonna jump into that little segment, and I'll start this week with my boy Hado. Hado, what's been your game of the week, bro?
Legends of Illumia has been the game of the week. I've actually been playing it more because like usually when I play these MMOs, I'll play for like an hour and then like fuck off. But lately, I've been playing this game for like 3 to 4 hours at a time, and it's passive enough that like I can like consume some content. So I'll be watching some YouTube videos or something, or I'll just scroll on Twitter, and then at the same time, I'm playing this game and. Uh, I think I don't know what got me inspired for that video I made recently, but uh, I just started to realize like because I'll be honest, I hated that like when you buy the character, it has a name associated with it. I like to customize my characters and stuff and make the names, but now I'm like, let me make this persona kind of journey and like make it into a creator, into like a character, right? So that's the kind of direction I've gone with it, and I'm just finding a little bit of humor within the game, like its art style, but also like the things you could do, like the little weird dance it does or whatever. So I'm just finding like little ways to make the game stand out for me personally, and then I could throw it out there into the internet and see how people receive that. But that's in my game of the week.
Hell
Um,
yeah, man. You've been on a
yeah,
grind for Illumia, bro. Well, we are trying to reach level 40, so that makes sense. But Dude, I love the character names. I think it's hilarious. I think it gives the game more of a comedic effect, right? Like when you're like using this name
Yeah.
to call on people because you can't, I don't know who's Hato if I don't look at your character, right? So I
Yeah.
think it's really cool. But that's awesome. You've been grinding Illuvium, man. I
And
really like the game.
one more thing. I'm level 32 now, so
Oh
maybe you
shit!
gotta step your game up.
Damn.
I'll still
surpassing my
1v1
brother.
the shit out of you. I don't care.
I'm
Bro,
gonna be the first
we all
level
know
100.
we all know how that went last time, bro. We don't need a recap of that. All right, that was over too quickly. It was over in less than 5
I
seconds.
will have my
Not-
revenge.
All right, man. Yeah, calm down. Calm down. All right, I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna throw it next to Squiddy.
I mean,
man.
Brecken Brightstone will have his revenge. My bad. Brecken
All right, we're gonna throw it to Squiddy. Squiddy, what's been your game of the week?
Yeah, I've been so again I gotta shout out to some of the Ape fam again. Shout out to my man Lior and the Mutant Cartel. They've got a sweet little city builder game going on that I've been diving into and I'm having some fun with. I like city building games, so Serum City, definitely having some fun there. It's a city builder in the swamp with Board Ape IP, which is an IP that I obviously really love. So it's a no brainer there, and it's a type of game that I definitely enjoy. So I'm playing that on my computer a little bit. It's great to play while I'm doing some work. I'm just mining resources, building buildings, going out, sending out things out on missions, etc. Trying to save my gems, so I kind of keep them gems stacked. Spend X amount of gems to speed up whatever action. It's pretty standard, and again, it's a pretty fun game so far. No complaints. And I've been playing NFL Rivals a little bit
Let's
too.
go.
Again,
Let's go.
mythical.
Let's go.
So again, it's kind of like it's got major. I said Madden Ultimate Team for a while back in the day, but I get some of those. To me, it's like it's like an Ultimate Team meets Pokemon Go type of game. But there's a marketplace as well. It's you can shoot for rares, you can buy packs, you get the pack opening experience, you can win cards. So that's everything I kind of hoped for with Ultimate Team in that regard. So and shout out to some fam over there that are working on this particular game. But as a big NFL fan, Super Bowl's coming up. There's got some fun Super Bowl content, so that's been my mobile game at the time. And of course, I'm level 48 trainer on Pokemon Go. I'm trying to hit Legend this season, but I've only hit that once out of any season. So that's like the PvP element. Uh, these kids keep getting nice, man. I hit the veteran level. Like, I get an elo of 3,000. I can't get above like 2,600 for a bit. But then like they swapped to a new season, not even a new season, like a new like version, like different like characteristics, whether it's Great League, Ultra League, or Master League. And then once I get into a flow, it starts over again. I just take like a huge tumble, and then I'm like, all right, fuck this, and then I just kind of get got. But those are the games that I'm working on. I'm playing right now that are keeping me occupied.
Dude, that's
Yeah,
A
awesome.
few
Squiddy.
more, Web3 games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real quick. Who you got on Super Bowl?
Got to go with the Chiefs again, man. I'm seeing the Chiefs going to be. I'm a diehard Eagles fan. So fuck the Niners. They kind of exposed Jalen Hurts a little bit, and they were still all pissy and moany from last year's NFC Championship game. So I don't want them to get a ring. I don't want it to happen too. So if we had to lose to the Chiefs last year, the Niners got to lose to the Chiefs
I
this
just
year.
don't want to deal with the Swifties, but I understand.
Oh man, yeah,
I
that's been
understand,
getting
man.
out of hand. That's been getting out of hand.
Yeah. We as men, we gotta get over that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a little annoying, sure, but it looks like real love. You gotta see real love there. Jason Kelsey's my guy, one of my favorite athletes of all time, and he's a center.
Yo, he
Right?
was wilding in the press
yeah,
box.
he's again one of my favorite. He's represents everything you want to represent. Someone representing your team and your city. So again, he's been honored to have him be my center for the last 13 years or whatever it's been. I really hope he doesn't retire and comes back. So they show Taylor Swift celebrating in the box for a couple seconds a game. Whoop-de-doo, right? Brings more eyes to NFL, and it's actually led me to some really fun like Reddit things too. Like I got shown like there's a game thread of Swifties like talking about talking about the football game. It just cracks me up
Dude, that's
because
hilarious.
they're genuinely trying to learn and ask questions what's going on, and I don't know. I find it hilarious.
Oh,
Dude,
that's
that's
cute.
crazy.
That's
But
cute.
listen, real quick, you said pack openings, and my eye lit up wider than a freaking owl. Because I'm the CS:GO. I'm the CS:GO boy in the guild, and I do be opening those cases. So I may need to check out NFT Rivals for sure if they have pack openings. I need to get in there.
Yeah.
As far as the city
It's
builder,
it's NFL rivals, bro, not
oh,
NFT
sorry,
rivals.
dude. You know what? I'm not a sports person, bro. I'm not a sports person. All right.
Yeah,
all right?
man, they got plenty.
NFL,
They got plenty of packs in
NBA.
there. I used to play
One of
it in early 2023. It's a pretty fire game. There's lots of packs, lots of packs.
I'm literally just
With
gonna
the
play it to
official
open
license.
packs, bro. I'm not even gonna front.
We
I'm
know.
just gonna be opening packs and
We know.
recording that shit.
We'll see it on the timeline. We know.
Yep. Expect it next week, bro. But Squiddy, going back to the city builder, what's the accessibility for that game like? Is it like anybody can get into it, or like do you need to have an asset in Yuga? Like, what's that looking like?
So every asset in Yuga was allowed a pass to claim. Because I believe it's still in a beta phase before it fully opens up. But the game is fully running right now. But just kind of start you start with a
Right.
select group of users, and then you do what you can next to get it open. Servers at a certain point, say whatever lightning happens in the bottle, like it happened with NBA Top Shot, and they just brought in millions of users when not all the cards are released and all these things, and it could lead to a detriment for the game. So right now, you do need to have a pass. Maybe I can send one over if you want to test it out, or if someone wants to give it a whirl from Catalyst. Just because again, I've got a couple, and I think I can only use one at the time. So again, it's definitely an interesting one. But right now, yeah. So it's just kind of from that closed ecosystem until it opens up more, and it obviously has a goal to become a mass market
Yeah,
game.
man, absolutely. Dude, first of all, appreciate the offer a ton. Thank you so much. And as far that makes sense, you want to get your pool of testers in there, figure out any bugs, any feedback before you open up to the masses, right? You don't want to have a disaster in your hand and open this up to the masses and not be fully smooth or something like that, and run into a bunch of bugs, and then you kind of ruin your first impression type of thing, right?
It'll be hard to
Yeah,
come back
exactly.
from.
It'll be hard to come
It'll
back
be hard
from.
to come back
Absolutely.
from.
And I think everybody should look for a game that they can run in the background. I think that's super important. We're always looking for those type of games. I know Missy loves playing games when he's in meetings and calls, so something that you can run in the background is always a good time. But all right, man, let's throw it to our boy Missy. Missy, tell us, man, what's your game of the week?
My game of the week, it's Mir 4. I did play a
Cute,
lot
dude.
of
That's my
Illumia.
answer. What the heck?
I did play a lot of Illumia too. I only got to 31. I kind of took a little break from Illumia this week due to the fact that I had a lot of work to do, and Mir 4 was just quicker and easier to get through. My complaints about the game is it's a little too much with the autopilot mode. There's an autopilot mode in that game that gets really fucking weird sometimes. I like controlling the shit out of my characters, and sometimes I feel like the autopilot mode gets in the way. I wish they would make it that you can disable that, and I think I'd enjoy it a little more. Overall, I leveled a Lancer to 15, and then I leveled the Warrior to 17 or 18. I used to play the game earlier, later last year, and I made my way to a 35 Arbalist. So I'm essentially just gonna end up leveling everything, I'm pretty sure. And I've enjoyed the experience so far. Seems like it has an interesting Web3 economy and ecosystem. I know a lot of people were bitching that previously the economy has been wrecked, but they've kind of tweaked it around and figured certain things out. I don't know enough about the economy to really talk about it. And then with Lumia, we got some archers, so I really want to dive into that shit. I'm dying to try out the archer. I have mine, and I just haven't been able to use it yet. But I will be diving into that next week, so I cannot wait to get into the archer. Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Listen, bro, my game of the week is also Mir 4, and you kind of touched on a lot of things that I was going to touch on already. But I think my biggest problem with the out of run things that they implemented is that it makes the game way too easy, bro. The combos, the fact that it controls the type of move that you use, the skills that you use whenever it wants, instead of you having to use it. It, like I don't know, we kind of like talked about Illumia being extremely difficult, right? Like to kill monsters and bosses and stuff. And I feel it's the opposite effect with Myr. I feel like Myr is too easy. Like I can solo run the whole thing and like be fine. You get me? But it is a freaking fun game. I do love all the effects, like the graphics. I love the character customization that it has. I think that's like one of the best features. Currently I'm using the class of the Darkest, and
Yeah, I was
she's
gonna ask if you were
fucking
still using that
Yeah.
one.
she's
She's
OP as fuck.
nasty.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah, she's OP as hell. To me, before that update came out, the Lancer was the best class because, especially for PvP, right?
Yep.
He has the best like balancing for PvP. But I do think the Darkest is gonna take that spot on this update because man, she has the range and she can attack from close as well. So like she's badass. I'm absolutely loving that class. I just wish they need to implement a way to take off the auto run thing because it does make the game a little bit too easy in my opinion to enjoy it fully. After like a few hours, I'm kind of like reaching the point where I'm feeling a little bored, you know, and
Yeah.
not really being challenged too much.
Yeah, like I could
Uh,
imagine. I haven't tried the PvP yet, but I could imagine it feels pretty cheesy to like have the fucking AI pressing half your
yeah,
abilities.
like press like have your
Um,
abilities. Yeah.
and yeah, man. I mean, I can't wait to dive into the PvP scene in that game. Like so far, I've only really seen 1v1s. They actually have a really cool YouTube community. Like, there's a fuck ton of like content on there. With people doing like montages and clips of them like PvPing against other players.
I
So
want
a
to
lot
see
of
some
it's like
speed runs, dude.
Portuguese. A lot of it's like Portuguese and like the Southeast Asian community. So I can't fully understand everything that's going on, but it looks hype. It looks dope. That's what really got me to pick the Lancer because I saw it in like a bunch of like 1v1 montages and shit, and I was like, damn, this looks fucking sick. Like it had really good crowd control, like with a good combination of damage. So yeah, I'm gonna keep experimenting around and kind of like I like the Lancer better than the Warrior, but I can make the Warrior look like my Paladin. So the Lancer, they don't give you like the buzz cut option, so I was pretty pissed. I was like, "Fuck, I want to look like my Paladin here." So yeah, and then I have
That's
one
dope.
last
That's dope.
question for Squiddy. After you, we wrap up whatever you said your game of the week. Is there anything you want to add, or
Nah, man,
you
I
good?
was just gonna tell the listeners, like you guys heard here some great games. Go check them out. Most of them have free access. Some of them you need like type of like NFT or like some type of pass to get into. But I think they're all great games. You should definitely check it out and get some gameplay in there. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So one thing that I've asked you this in the past, but I don't think many people have heard the story. So I feel like we kind of took an L by not asking this sooner, so I'm going to ask it now. You know, you mentioned Bored Apes. You look at Squiddy, you think Community Maestro Bored Ape. What's your story with your Bored Ape? Like, how did that happen? And what led to you getting the Bored Ape? Like, did you mint it? Did you buy it on secondary? Like, let's dive into that.
Yeah, great story. I bought it on secondary. I didn't love the art initially. It obviously it, it made its way to me a little bit more as you kind of saw. So I saw it minting, then I saw it kind of like run up. I'm like, oh, let me just mint the next Board Ape. Let me mint B-ball pandas. Let me mint fucking anything else. All these other like garbage that was coming out. But knowing like with my experience of getting like wrecked in Top Shot and all these things, like all right, I believe in this NFT space. Let me bet on a horse, right? And what they got going on with the Board Apes is something that I believe in too. So instead of buying all this garbage, let me get like one of like the top things that I think. And a CryptoPunk was just completely out of the question for me. It was just so far out of reach and no budge to it. So like, all right, let's see what I can get this Board Ape. And then it went up to like 5 ETH as it was getting ready for the first airdrop, which was the Kennel Club. So people like run it up, get the airdrop, dump it, take the chance with the kennel, and then play it by ear there. And then I go back to basketball. There was the president and general manager of the Philadelphia 76ers, Daryl Morey. He had a Bored Ape as his Twitter profile picture. I'm like, all right, this is a guy who I like appreciate when it comes to team building and his view on analytics and building a basketball team and whatnot. And he's got a JPEG of a monkey on his Twitter account. So, all right, if I have this monkey, if I have this JPEG as well, if I have this token, I'm in the same community. Again, it all goes back to community for me. I'm in the same community as the president of the Philadelphia 76ers. And he's usually on top of some of these things too. I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. Like if I ever bump into him in the street, oh, we have this thing in common, right? And that always opens the door for a conversation. That always opens the door for anything. So I got to shout out to Daryl Morey. He doesn't know this yet. He doesn't know who I am, but he's like one of the main reasons why I made that purchase. Finger shaking.
Oh shit, that's fucking sick, man.
3.4 ETH, which is like the most I've ever spent on anything in my entire life at the time. And like ETH is 2,000. I think it's like $1,700. But I was just like, like, am I really spending this much money on a JPEG? Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? But it made sense, and like I was like, all right, we'll figure it out. We'll buy and we'll just hold it for a while. I'll ride or die with it too. But at least I'm kind of in it. So I got it. Went up to like 5 ETH. It came down to like 3 after the kennel claim, and I knew it would hopefully eventually start to go back up again. So I bought mine. It's a floor ape, as people would call it, but for me, I didn't really care too much about it. I need something that represented me. I like techno music. I like hitting a dance floor, kind of going out, and music's very important to me. So just having a little smoke, black t-shirt, eyes closed, just listening to them funky, funky beats and chilling. And it's just like, it's a representation of who I am as well, right? Like I'm a low key guy, especially when I go out and about. So that's my like who I am like 90% of the time. And then I bought my other ape, which is like a little above the floor at the time when the floor kind of went back up to 5 ETH. And I'm like, all right, I got to get one more, right? Because I got to eventually sell. I want to get one to sell, because I never want to sell mine. So then I got the one with like the BDSM hat, the glasses, and the dress. Like, what? So yeah, we just got done. We just got done doing some wild shit. Like, what's up? So that's kind of like rocking the party. And I saw some benefits of like the potential IP. It was just really clean, and it hadn't been owned by anybody else besides the minter. That's something I value too. Like, if I'm going to hold on to these things for a while, I don't want something that's been passed around, right? So I want something that's been like mine. Like I would have kept whatever one I minted if I was able to mint it. But the fact that no one else had owned this NFT besides the minter, besides me, that's something that I put value into as well. So if I become someone of relevance, right, and say I eventually want to send it, oh, this is like a Squiddy ape. He's only bringing like value to the IP. I was going to post something today about like the two ones I have, but they kind of represent like my two different personalities when it comes to like the traits and when it comes to like the branding and the IP, like the cleanliness of them. Like they're both smoking, but they both represent just different areas of Squiddy. We love to get down. Love to be low key. We're just sometimes we let the freak flag fly, as Sweat and Wild likes to allude to in the comments. And it's just fun. So they're both clean looking. They both have some representation. My PFP one is like that's who I am, right? I'm just rocking a black tee, smoking a joint when applicable. Yeah, just that's kind of how it went. So I was specific about like the traits that I wanted, and then when I saw one that kind of at the floor there, I got it. And then I never forget, for like a month, I bought it at like 3.4. It was around the floor, and then the floor went down to like 2 something too. I'm like, did I just fuck up?
Yeah, man, that shit is never fun. Like watching the wild swings go down, especially with JPEGs, because it's a liquid a little bit, So.
Yeah, especially when you got no other liquidity too. It's like, all right, but then I have to remind myself.
Well, especially also when you're so committed to the community too, because like you enjoy being part of the community, but when it's like messing with your risk management, you're like, damn, like where is this going? Like that is definitely a scary thing to go through. But listen, I love the story, dude. I love the story how you got involved. And to me, what's special is the fact that you're still part of that community and you're still so bullish on it, right? I think that's I'm sure it's gonna a story that's gonna keep accumulating more years as you stay involved in the Yuga ecosystem, and it's just gonna get more awesome as you tell it because of that. The longer you are in that ecosystem, the better that story's gonna get.
100%. And again, like even the beginning stages, I was very rarely like in the Discord, right? Because I was working well on Top Shot. I was working with champions, right? So I was so focused on what I was doing, I didn't really put myself out there to join like the Yuga communities when it comes to like, all right, whatever inside jokes or whatever's kind of coming out of the Discord, right? Like I would pop in occasionally, but I just never really fully got on board with that at the initial time. I just knew kind of like what it was. I liked the PSP. I recognized the symbol that it represented, especially as like, I got this at relatively early, and now it's at. I always felt like weird rocking it when it was fucking the PSP was worth like 400 grand or some shit, right? Because I'm like, who the fuck am I? Like, what in the fucking is going on here? And it is because that's just like, I'm again, I like to be a low key guy. I do my thing, right? I'm always ripping it. I do my thing, but I like to be in the shadows, right? I try not to bring too much attention to myself. And that was one, like, for better or for worse. Sorry, you had the monkey. You're bringing some attention to it, but I recognize like what it would do and build long term, and the importance of kind of like establishing that brand over the long term. And these are things that can only happen over time and not for like say some immediate gains.
Dude, amazing, man. Let's get some fists in the chat for this amazing
Let's
story
fist
that
Squiddy,
just
fam.
told, man.
Fist
Let's
Squiddy,
fucking
baby.
Get fisting, baby. Get fisting in the chat one last
Fisting,
time.
baby. Fisting.
Listen,
Yo.
man, this has been an
It is
amazing.
the sign. The fist.
Yeah.
The fist is a sign of love. It's a sign of respect. It's a sign of togetherness. It's a sign
Yes,
of community.
sir.
You fist one, you fist all. Life would be better if we're all just
Hey, yo.
we all just fist each other.
Hey,
fucking
I
love
do.
it, dude.
Yo, Clouds. I do want to shout out JRP in the chat real quick. He said Clouds looks like a reggaeton artist. Just want to throw it out there.
You already know, man.
We're
I'm
starting a
channeling
band,
my-
man. I'm
We're
I'm
starting-
Bad Bunny, Bad Mizzy, and then we got Clouds over here. Let's fucking
You
go.
already know, man. We're bringing back the reggaeton era, bro. The best era. All
Ya
right.
tú sabes,
No,
ya tú
listen.
sabes.
Listen, bro. Guys, this has been an amazing episode. Definitely one in the books and one of my favorite ones. Squiddy, you're a fucking legend, man. So happy to have you on the show. But let's get into our closing thoughts, and I'm actually gonna throw it back to Squiddy and let him kind of have the floor, man. Tell the people what you want them to know. Give us your closing thoughts on like what's happening with Yuga and everything you're involved with Superfine. And yeah, man, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, we dove into a lot, man. I appreciate you guys being genuinely interested about my past and how we keep it rocking. Keep tabs on the Catalyst Effect, man. You guys are doing great. I love the show what you guys are doing here too. So make sure you guys in the chat, you're already doing that already. And if you're watching this now, show love to your creators, right? Show love to the people that are building and doing cool stuff. Because it's a two-way street, right? I've talked way too much about me on this one space here. So I would just say, stay in touch, stay in tune. If you're a game and you want to market on traditional ad networks, right? Holler at me. I'm happy to have that initial Superfine conversation, especially if you're a game that's friend of the Catalyst Effect, because that's familiar right there, baby. It's the trans of the property. And yeah, man, I'm on X. People want me to get on TikTok. I might have to get on TikTok soon. And just out here living, doing my thing each day, and trying to continue to use my Twitter account to. I still have to do better at it, but like just retweet all the fam and retweet all the content that people are rocking. Because again, the Twitty page is not about Squiddy, right? It's a space for the people. Gaming A show is a space for the people, and we're going to try and keep that up and always try and remain authentic to ourselves. And if that don't happen, feel free to call me out, right? Like feel free to keep it rocking. But we want to make it for the people. I'm still kind of finding that right line of making sure that I can get out what we got to get out there, and also supporting the others with a retweet or comments or dropping or fisting them on their posts.
Yeah, baby. You already
Absolutely
know.
love it, man. Absolutely love it. Yo, I'm gonna throw it to Missy. Missy, give it your closing thoughts, man.
Nah, man. Full circle moment for me to have Squiddy on our show. That's the homie. I'm always going to be a fan of Squiddy. That there's that meme. If Squiddy has 1 million fans, I'm one of them. If Squiddy has 100,000 fans, I'm one of them. Squiddy got 1,000 motherfucking fans, I'm one of them. He got 100 fans, I'm one of them. He got one fan, then it's motherfucking me. So that's the
It's
homie.
just you, baby.
Thank you for coming on the show, bro, and I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Hado, do you have
Appreciate
anything
you too,
you want to
brother.
add,
Much
brother?
love.
Yeah, it was nice to get to know you, Squiddy. Thanks for being on the show. Pleasure having you here. As far as Astronaut is concerned, I'm still in the process of moving and figuring out my stuff. So I don't know if a episode will come out this week, to be honest, but as soon as I get situated, you bet your ass you're going to see more skits and shit from me. In the meantime, though, I will definitely be doing more Adventures of Brecken Brightstone because I'm addicted to Illumia. So.
Yeah, this guy.
And it's not because it's not because I saw you motherfuckers in chat was talking shit. It's not because Mizzy beat me. It's because I generally like to play the game. Okay.
Sure. Yep.
Sure.
Look,
man.
Look. If you beat me in a game that I didn't like, I would never play it again. Just plain and simple. I just wouldn't play it.
Hey, I love it, man. I love it. If you guys want to stay tuned in with Ask or Not, just give Hado a follow on X, man. He kills it with that. And definitely check out the previous episodes of the ones that he put up. But listen, this has been an amazing episode. Like I said, man, shout out to Squiddy, the motherfucking legend. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Guys, this has been episode 17. Make sure you guys give Squiddy a follow on X. Check out Superfine. Check out the Ape Gaming Show. Check out everything he's working on, man. The guy is an absolute legend. We love having you on the show, man. You're always welcome to come back anytime. We're definitely gonna be in touch to I saw some people saying let's keep Squiddy as a permanent guest. So maybe we make this thing a 4-man panel. I have no idea, man. So too many fans for you, Squiddy. I love it, man. But guys, we'll check you guys out next week on Sunday. We'll be here live for episode 18. Until then, we'll see you later. Peace.
Peace.